So here's some help working through the quiz in section 2.1. This is on money, financial math, and it's on borrowing. So one of the things we know is depending on how often it's compounded will affect how much it's going to cost us. So in this question, it says a loan is worth $10,000 and it's due in 5 years. Which compounding period will result in the highest amount of interest? So the highest amount of interest will be the one that's compounded the most often. So daily is the one that would be the highest. So this would be the highest here. Next would be monthly, because that's 12 times in a year. Quarterly is 4 times in a year, so that's that would be the third most. And annually is once per year. So again, that's daily is 365 times per year, monthly is 12 times per year, quarterly is 4 times per year, and annually is once per year. So the more often it's compounded, the more interest you will pay on a loan. Now, the difference between daily and monthly, quarterly, and annually is not going to be that much. It will. Many people think that going to daily would make it like cost you twice as much, but that's not true. And you can try some questions and just change it from monthly to daily, and you'll see that will change, but not very much. So let's look at another question. So in this one right here, we have a house being purchased and there's a down payment of 20% on the purchase price. Now there's a whole bunch of other information here, compounded semi-annually at an interest rate of 4.2%. Carlos will repay the mortgage in 25 years with regular monthly payments. How much was the down payment? So how much is a down payment is simply, we're starting with $325,000. So the 20% down payment would be times that by 20%, which is 0.20, and that would give you $65,000. So the $65,000 is your down payment, and that is the answer to the question. But if you were to continue this question and figure out the cost of the mortgage, you would have to get a mortgage of 325 subtract 65,000 would give you $260,000. So $260,000 would be how much you'd have to get the mortgage for, and 65,000 would be your down payment. So it's important to know the differences there. And then you can continue to do this question if you had to solve it using this number as your present value. And if you want to pay it off, then your future value will be 0. Let's look at number 3. So Carmen must now pay $9,000 to pay off her bank loan, which she borrowed 10 years ago. The loan was compounded monthly at an interest rate of 5.2%. How much did Carmen originally borrow? So what do we have to do with this question? So when I read this question, I see that we started with a loan, and at the end of that loan, it's worth $9,000. So we're looking at what did we start with, and then we ended up with $9,000. Now our interest rate is given to us. We know it's compounded monthly, and we know the time is 10 years. So our number of periods, or compounding periods, because it's compounded monthly, would be 10 times 12. So what do we do with that? Well, we can use a financial calculator. So I like the TVM calculator right here. And you can see our future value is $9,000. That's how much the loan's worth at the end. And we want to find out what was it to begin with. The payment means, are you making monthly payments? And in this case, you're not. The interest rate is 5.2%. And this is the period. So it's compounded 120 times. 120 times is compounded. And we want to find out what is the present value. So the present value is, what was it at the beginning? And we just figure it out. It's all about understanding where the numbers go. With question number 4, we have another loan from the bank to buy a car that costs $22,500. The bank offers her a simple interest rate of 4.3%. The loan is to be repaid in 5 years. What amount did Gina need to pay back? Well, the key here is this right here, simple interest rate. So it's because it's simple interest rate, we have to go back to our simple interest formula. And the simple interest formula is to find out what the interest is. It's I equals your principal times your interest rate times time. So if you multiply 22,500 times your interest rate, which is 0.043, and multiply that by 5 years, you'll get how much interest you're paying. And I believe that is 4,000 something. So I got $4,837.50. Now that's how much interest was on the loan. So we have to add that to the 22,500 to get our answer. So this is how much you'd have to pay back. In question number 5, we have a big loan of $60,000 and must be repaid with regular monthly payments of $1,100. The bank charges an interest of 3% compounded monthly. How much interest did she pay? So in this one, the important thing to understand is that we're making monthly payments, regular monthly payments of $1,100. We start owing $60,000. So how do we enter this in? So at the beginning, we were given $60,000. We want to pay off $1,100. Because we want to pay it off, our future value will be 0. Our interest rate is 3%. And it's monthly. Now, because the monthly payments and it's compounded monthly, we can use the basic calculator. We don't have to use the advanced one. We'd have to use the advanced calculator if the compounding periods are different than the payments. So because they're both monthly, we can use the basic one. You can see all we have to find out now is how many periods there were. So we figure that out, and it's 58.71. Now this rounds it off a little bit too much. I'd like to have more decimal places in this. But what this is doing is, this is 58.71 months. So we have to multiply that by 1,100. So when we multiply our number of payments or periods by 1,100, we get $64,581. Now that's how much the person paid in total. Now if we subtract the principal, the amount at the beginning, we will get $4,581. Now you can see this is quite close to what this number is. And the reason why it's off by a little bit is because this was rounded off a little bit too much. So depending on which financial calculator you're using, when I use the TVM calculator on my phone, the app, I get more decimal places. So you would be more accurate. and this number would be closer to the 4586, which is the exact answer. So it's very close, close enough. And in number 6, we take out a $16,000 loan from the bank to pay for school. The bank offers an interest rate of 5.6% compounded quarterly. The loan is to be repaid in 3 years. How much interest did you need to pay? So again, we need to start with our loan of $16,000. In this case, we're not making regular payments. We're just going to pay it all off at the end of 3 years. So it's going to be 0 for a future value. No. At the end, we're going to have $16,000 plus the interest. So this is what we're looking for. The 5.6% is our rate, compounded quarterly. That's 4 times per year. And if it's 4 times per year, that means in 3 years, we'll have 12 periods. So now we can find out what is the future value, and this is how much we'll have to pay back after 3 years. So $18,904.95. That's what the future value is. So if the future value is 18,904.95, then the interest would be this right here. Subtract the 16,000, and that would be the interest. So hopefully this gets you on the right track. And if you do have any questions, make sure you contact your teacher.